Hello, selectors, and welcome to the Lifeburst podcast, where we talk about everything we cross.
Yay!
So today, it's good to see you. It's good to see you.
Who are you?
It's good to meet you. I'm Andrew.
Hi, I'm Tiffany. We're your hosts today.
And today we've got a pretty fun topic to be talking about. We're going to be talking about the top 10 ASSIST Lrigs.
That's right.
In Wixoss currently, and we have a little bit of a surprise at the beginning too. But we're doing this because what's next week, Tiffany?
We've got another ceremony coming up.
That's true. It's the third ceremony.
There's like so little breathing room between ceremonies. It's nuts.
It was about a month.
Yeah. That's not a whole lot of time in Wixoss time.
I guess it's the season of tournaments.
Yeah. Not to mention, we've got set 4 coming up faster than you think.
Yeah, I think that's going to be in mid-August. I can't remember the exact date.
Something like that.
But yeah, it'll be before the 4th ceremony coming out. So it's going to be one of those situations where if you wanted to play in the 4th ceremony, you better have tested and ordered your cards ahead of time.
Yep.
Speaking of testing and ordering your cards ahead of time, not to mention there's the selector, the selector circuit that will be open soon for people if you guys want to play with the creator. I'm just mumbling all my words today.
I know, it's me too. Sorry, y'all. Just bear with us. We promise we're professionals.
Clearly a Sunday. Yeah, if you want to play with your favorite content creators, you can we can do that kind of thing.
Yeah, you might even be able to play with one of us.
Yeah.
One of us.
And let's start off with the question of the podcast. If you guys don't mind commenting down below, what are you thinking about playing for the ceremony coming up? And if you're not playing the ceremony coming up, what is your favorite ASSIST Lrig line?
And why? Let us know in the comments down below. We read every comment, and we're looking forward to talking to you guys down there.
Totally.
All right. Shall we go ahead and get started?
Yeah, we have, it's a top 10, but we do have one special shout out. It doesn't exist yet. That's why it's a special shout out. But so I guess coming in number 11, but it would be higher on this list if we were in set 4, would be Machina, Wing Slash and Smash. They have like the same name, and they do very similar effects, level 1 and level 2. But if you guys look ahead in the Japanese meta, you'll find that this ASSIST Lrig shows up quite a bit.
Yes.
It is similarly as strong is Deus's assist line, but Deus also shows up quite a bit as a center Lrig, so it actually shows up less as a assist Lrig as Machina does. So I thought I'd shout out Machina. Let's for our viewers, let's read Machina and what do they do?
So let's see, 1 second. I'm getting up the level 1, which is Machina Wing Slash. Enter vanish target level 1 Signy on your opponent's field. Enter add target level 1 Signy without a guard from your trash to your hand. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Grow cost 0, of course, main phase timing.
Yeah, so it checks off all those boxes that you're looking at for a level 1. It's drawing you a card, basically, giving you some kind of card advantage source, and it's also opening up a lane. Well, granted, it's only a level 1 lane. It's good for the first turn and second turn. You're going to have level 1s, and surprising to no one, a level 1 that can react well on turn 1 and 2.
Yeah.
It's the right time for it.
It might even be stronger on turn 2, because by then you've got Signy in your trash, probably, with paying for enter costs and such, and you've got a little bit of a bigger selection, which black likes anyway.
Yep.
They always like stuff in the trash. So this might even be better at your full second turn, although doing it on your first turn as a response if you are going second from your opponent, not bad.
Yeah. And I mean, you can do it on turn 1, 2 as well, because we're entering a place where a lot of these level 1s that you can play, right, level 1 Signies that you can play are got some kind of enter, pay, and enter, do something ability, like Haniel, for example.
Yes.
So we'll find that being more and more common. So there's actually a chance for you to have stuff in your trash at that point. What's its level 2 do?
Machina Smash with an M instead of an L.
Yeah.
Level 2 Rig, enter, target Signy in your opponent's field, gets negative 12,000 power until end of turn, basically annihilating anything. Enter, pay 1 black, add target Signy without a guard from your trash to your hand. Grow level 1, main phase, and attack phase timing.
Yeah. So it's basically Hirana Stamp, right? It's just a Hirana Stamp with some extra, better text. Hirana Stamp also has some extra text, but it's not great. But the Hirana Stamp ability here is just 1 enter, vanish anything on your opponent's side during their attack phase turn, and then you can also pay another enter and get something back to your hand.
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially in the late game. Like I said, black loves trash recursion. So by the time you use this, you've got a fantastic selection of Signies to choose from. And it does say target Signy without a guard, so you can pick anything. Not a bad lineup. Kind of like, you know, it feels like an upgrade to the first card. So if you like a really, really consistent assist line, this is going to be one to look forward to. All right. A little forward thinking, a little forecast for you guys.
Yeah, don't be surprised when you start seeing it show up is the real answer.
All right, so are we going like 10 to 1?
Yeah, we're going to go to 10 to 1. But
Okay.
before we do that, let's talk about Dream Teams.
Shall we?
I think it's important at this point to note that we are at sort of a convergent moment in Wixoss history here, where right now everyone talks about what's the best team. And the answer is we need to start changing our thinking to what's the best center and what's their best assists that they can play together. When set 4 comes out, which is not too long from now, guys, you are going to see the reasoning behind running a team much less pronounced.
Yeah. Yeah, those reasonings are going to become less and less appealing to stick with a team. Now, we've been sticking with teams very consistently, and there's been a lot of very good reasons for that. What are some of those reasons, Andrew?
Ooh, that's a good segue. Yeah, the reasons are you've got team pieces, you've got team signies, and you've got team abilities, right? And sometimes team spells. For example, Random Drain, right? Is a team. It's not so random if other dream teams use it, but if Uchu uses it, it's very random.
Or things like Progenesis.
Right.
Or things like the most popular one, which is Burning Inferno.
Yeah. Deafening Inferno. I think I finally got you to say the wrong name there. It's Deafening Inferno.
How dare you do this
I know,
to
I
me?
always say Burning Inferno for some reason.
Isn't that a magic card?
I think so.
Oh my god.
But anyways, guys, yeah, those are your reasonings to do it, right? But as the card pool gets bigger and certain things get pushed, the reasonings become less great. You and I were talking yesterday, right? What's the reason you want to play No Limit? And the answer is
Glory Grow.
Glory Grow, yeah. But there's a secret answer as to why it's so good too, and people just don't consider it. It's Rose Quartz. Rose Quartz is one of the few red spells that can get rid of big things.
Right.
Right?
And you can only do that with a team ability?
Yeah, well, Rose Quartz is a team Signy. So you, and yes, Team Signy don't always have to use their team ability, right? So, for example, you can play Fenrir as just a freeze 2 on your opponent's side of the field and not use its discard effect.
But why would you do that when that's one of the major appeals to it?
But right, we're getting to a point now where anyone could play things if they want that top end red vanish effect. They can play what is it called? Eternal Influence. Okay, if I wanted to play a thing that freezes and messes with my opponents, why would I play Fenrir when I can play Waffle Ice, right? We're starting to a world where things are pushed. And if I were to say, and this is the example I think you and I compared yesterday, what's more powerful, Komai or Rose Quartz?
Depends on what you're trying to do.
Exactly. And just innately saying that means that Rose Quartz, which has a really restrictive build thing, you have to run No Limit. And Komai, which has a less restrictive build limit, you need to have a center Lrig and some kind of green assist. We're entering a world where the team Signy don't matter so much anymore.
We've kind of been on that track for a while now.
Right.
Especially since Sandbaka. I know a lot of you out there like playing Sandbaka, no shade intended, but it's just the fact that a lot of those guys are virtual, or they have like they just skew more to a specific team.
Right. And so, like, I mean, we've got a lot of Signy to choose from now. Zirconium, Firefly Squid, Phalaris, all of these things are... Anamirage. All these things are powerful and don't necessarily... Nobunaga. Don't require you to play a specific team.
Yeah,
right?
just a color.
Okay, so that leads us to now what's left in that stuff. Team spells. Well, some team spells we play regardless of that, so that was never really a thing. Anything that plays blue usually plays Random Drain. Anything that plays red usually plays Deafening Inferno. Doesn't necessarily matter if it's team or not.
Yeah.
And, okay, so what about pieces? Yeah, some of the pieces are still irreplaceable, right? Salvage the Future is very good.
Endless Punchline.
Excellent.
Glory Grow.
Perfect.
All of these are... They're kind of irreplaceable with their abilities as of now.
Right, but there won't always be that way, right? So, for example, Endless Punchline. It's... If you were to just boil down all of its text to do something, it says, deal 3 damage to the opponent.
Yeah.
Right? And if you look at the next set, it's gonna have Heaven. Oh, I can't remember what it's called. Something Heaven, White Heaven or something like that. All it requires is you to have 2 white Lrigs, and it opens up 2 lanes to the opponent. So it's a piece that deals 2 damage to the opponent. It's comparable.
Yeah,
it's not the same.
It's not the same. It's comparable, but the other thing that it's doing is that it's removing the necessity for you to filter through all of your cards throughout the entire game, which could open you up to a lot more like Signy flexibility,
right.
Which would be good for, decks like Card Jockey.
Right, and there's Death Deck, I think is another Signy or another piece that's coming out in the next set, and that does a really good salvage the future impression. So okay, we're getting more powerful pieces that don't rely on us having to be a team. What's the last thing holding us back? And the answer is the center Lrigs. Well, the next set 4 has center Lrigs without team abilities. At that point, you'll have no reason to not break teams.
Yeah, and create the team of your dreams.
The dream team.
The dream team.
Which is why, again, we wanted to go over this. Aside from just, this is good information to have before running into the next ceremony. But we wanted to go over what your options are for as
assists.
We move forward for assists.
Yeah. All right. Shall we dive right in?
I think we can definitely dive in at this point.
All right. Number 10. Da-da-da-da. We've got Love It Scratch and Love It Crossfire.
Yeah,
I think it's
Crossfade. I think I misspelled it.
It's probably Crossfade.
Yeah, they're good, right? I mean, you're the one who uses the Love It line more than I do.
Yeah, I do like Love It Scratch. It's very straightforward. Vanish target Signy on your opponent's field, power 10,000 or less. Especially when you're going up against bigger decks, like, Nova is becoming more popular, or Wolf that pumps up a lot of stuff. It's nice to have a level 1 cost 0 Signy, ASSIST Lrig that can just deal with stuff when it starts getting too big.
It's true. As a Nova player, one of the things that I find most terrifying is if a no limit player or a Love It player, right? They wait on growing their thing, and they're like, yeah, I gotta wait for this to take out your Ishikiri Maru or something. Like, that is more scary than when they just blow it on turn 1 to get an extra damage in.
Yeah. So the next one is Crossfade. So it's Vanish target Signy on your opponent's field. There's no, condition to that, which is very helpful when you're going into the late game and you just need to get rid of something, like a Komai or, a Chandelier or something. And then it has a second cost, which is pay 1 red 3 anything and crush one of your opponent's life cloth.
Right.
That can change the tempo of any game.
Yeah,
because that's the whole point, isn't it? That's how you win. So having that on your side is pretty great. I don't even know if there's another assist that can just directly crush a life cloth.
Not currently, no. And guys, if you want to read along with the cards as we put them up, I'm putting them on the screen for you guys as we go forward. But yeah, it is. It's one of those cool ones where the 2 enter for attack phase timing, get rid of something is okay. It's not amazing. It's okay. But when you add it to the flexibility that if you don't use it right away and then you kind of get walled out, you can just unwall yourself by having more reach. It's really good. It's just a good secondary option to have on it.
Not to mention the second one, as most assists do, it has the attack phase timing. So even if you can't crush a life cloth, like maybe you don't have the enter for it, card jockey typically doesn't. Opening up a lane on your opponent's turn, so you have that guaranteed lane, almost guaranteed lane to punch through. You can save yourself that second ability to almost have a guaranteed life cloth crush on the second turn.
Yeah, and one of the cool things about her as well is because they're both enter abilities and you have the choice of stacking the triggers however you'd like. You can actually crush the life cloth first, and if they hit a Haniel Lifeburst and they fill that lane and it's something you don't want there, you can be like, okay, now I resolve the second one and I get rid of this.
I keep forgetting that you can pick the order of that. So that is Love It. Shall we move along to number 9?
Yeah, number 9 is Nova Dirty and Nova Slash. Now, honorable mention to Nova Mute as well in this line. Nova Mute is a level 1 assist where you can discard a card, pay and enter, and stop anything from attacking. It's one of the few things that can actually stop Signy attacks on your opponent's turn at level 1, right? So, it can punish some greedy players who don't expect it. But Nova Dirty and Nova Slash have a longer lifetime in our meta and Japanese meta as well. Mostly in white-blue mid-range tempo decks that are trying to mess with your opponent's resources while simultaneously put you ahead. If you look at what Nova Dirty does, it lets you look at the top 7, which is a huge amount, and put 2 Signy, 1 white, 1 blue into your hand. So you're getting card advantage from it no matter what. But unlike all these other draw effects, which usually just let you draw 2 in the blind, you can get like anything off of this. And it will always fix your hand, right? You don't have enough level 2s to put up a wall, you got your level 2s for the next turn. Oh, you have all of your level 2s and level 1s, then you don't care about your opening turns. Cool, grab a Fenrir and grab a Komai. You know, like these are the things that it can do incredibly well.
Yeah, and 7, that's just as good as a good dig.
Yeah.
But you're doing it for free, realistically, and you're getting 2 cards out of it. Well,
you're getting 2 cards out of it,
you're getting 2 cards out of it.
Nova Slash is also more cards that you can find. This one doesn't have a guard restriction on it, so you can grab guards from it, which is great.
Yeah, that's the typical Nova MO as we've seen with her center Lrig line.
And then you can it's a little expensive. 3 on your opponent's turn is a little expensive, but the fact that it trashes the Signy instead of vanishing or bouncing it so they can't do anything with it afterwards is quite good.
Yes.
So Nova Dirty and Nova Slash, not quite the best line, which is why they're at number 9, but and it does have its niche in white blue decks.
Yeah, not a bad deep dig to pay the extra white for. Not bad at all.
That brings us to our number 8, which is
Ray Lunar Blade and Empty Blade.
Yep.
Now, why did you pick these 2 out of all the rest of the Rays?
It's true. Ray is a pretty flexible line. The other ones that you could have picked might have been the Ray Draw 2 on its level 1, and the Ray. There's a Ray that bottoms something to the Absolute Zero. It bottoms something to the opponent's library and also makes them discard a card. The reason we picked Lunar Blade and Empty Blade is because these are generally speaking where No Limit lives nowadays. It likes this type of thing because it disrupts your opponent while simultaneously puts you ahead. And you can speak more to that than I can.
I mean, having the early draw to either fix your opening hand or just get a little bit more burn in the early game, because No Limit really likes to push. I mean, they just like to push, but they really excel in getting ahead in the early game. So having that just tiny amount of draw is very, very good, especially because you're not too worried about what the opponent is doing that early in the game, especially if you're going second as opposed to first. So I have found that that Lunar Blade is much more supportive than trying to, do something else besides just give me more cards. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion.
Yeah, it does something more unique at a level 1 that the other level 1s don't really do in blue as of yet, which is it makes your opponent discard a card too. And that's a little bit of a tempo play, right?
For level 1?
Yeah, level 1 draws you a card, and...
You're talking about Lunar Blossom, then.
Okay, that's what I meant, Lunar Blossom.
Sorry, y'all. This is Lunar Blossom, which is the draw card, opponent discards a card at random.
Yeah. Sorry. And so that helps because it allows you to disrupt your opponents at a level 1, which is not usual for most level 1 assists.
Yes. Yeah. It feels good. Especially if you are running Empty Blade additionally, because that one is the draw 2 cards, your opponent discards 2 cards at random. If anybody is running Xenocluster, they might pop it off early to prevent this, especially if you do a double grow on Ray and make them discard 3 cards, and then you draw 3 cards, which is ridiculous and infuriating.
Yeah.
So that can really set your opponent back, and it could force them into a situation to use a piece they were probably saving for later.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, is if you can force the use of a piece for a net gain of 0, right? Mm-hmm. Then at the end, what you've done is you paid 1 enter to draw 3 cards over the course of this, and they've used their piece and gotten nothing out of it, basically. Mm-hmm.
And you've ripped apart their hand, which is something that No Limit doesn't typically do, but will give you card advantage. And and any sort of advantage to pick up momentum as No Limit is something that you want.
And realistically, if you can get rid of a guard, it doesn't matter what they draw. As long as it's not a guard, you're good.
As long as it's not a guard, yeah, exactly. All right, coming in at number 7...
That's Bang Da Capo and Bang Crescendo.
All right.
I swear we didn't put these down as the Lrigs that I use, the Lrigs that you use back and forth. That seems to be the way they're coming off.
Yeah.
But Bang Da Capo is incredible, right? Bang Da Capo is 3 enter to prevent 2 sources of damage. That's above rate normally. Mm-hmm. And not only that, it prevents the damage, which does fancy things with Double Crush. And also, it's just like, because of that, you don't have to worry about lining up very specific lanes or something. It's just insurance, right? And that's good to have that insurance. Bang Crescendo, on the other hand, is just enter charge. And the two of them together is just something that a late game deck is looking to do. A late game deck needs a little bit of early gas to get started, and then Bang Da Capo allows you to go that late game, right?
Yes.
So it's even though it does nothing on the board, which is a downside of the card, it does and give you the tools necessary to fight a late game tempo, right? Mm-hmm. I will say this: the reason why Bang Da Capo, we considered putting it higher on the list because of what it does, and it is very, very good defensively. The reason we actually put it lower on the list is because it's green. And I know that's a bit of a hot take here, but there's not a lot of good green cards, right?
Right.
The best green card's probably Komai. And Komai's a white card, but it requires you to play green.
That's true, because of the harmony effect.
Yeah, so it's kind of a distractor for it. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot in green right now that would make me, when I'm making a dream team, that's the idea of this list, bringing myself to wanting to play green. Mm-hmm. Like, Komai is one of the main reasons I would want to play green. Osagetsune is another reason, and then it starts running dry on reasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. All right. I will say that Bang Da Capo, it's one of those cards that you can stop the 2 damage from Glory Grow if you time it right. Mm-hmm. So
there was I'm not into bad beat stories all that much, but there was someone in the first ceremony who had Nobunaga out, and it was the only open lane, and then also Glory Growed, and they enabled double crush, and I went, cool, Bang Da Capo, prevent both of them. Clearly, it was just like, all right, that's it. The wind is out of their sails now.
And that's why, even though it's lower on the list, it's still on the list.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Sorry, I cannot think straight. I'm so sorry, y'all. Okay, number 6, total classic, total, like, one could say this assist is rock solid with Akino Rock and Akino Bye Bye.
Yeah, and we just did the data stuff of
With Hellfire.
with the second ceremony with Hellfire, and it was like very overwhelmingly like, yeah, people pick Akino Rock and then they pick Akino Bye Bye, and there is no other Akino.
Honestly,
really.
yeah. If you guys want to check out that video, we'll leave the links in the description down below. It's very
It'll have come
in-depth.
out by now, but
We'll
keep an eye out for it.
Yeah,
guys.
we'll update the description for it, and feel free to head over to his channel and keep an eye out for it. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, Akino Rock, totally solid assist. I mean, why would you pick anything different unless you just like the art better on different assists? Return target level 2 or less signature to your opponent's field to the owner's hand. Goodbye, Zhao Yun.
Yeah, bounce is incredible in aggro, right? It's bounce is a temporary solution, so it doesn't help you long term, but aggro doesn't care because they try to end the game before it goes long term. And it's just a catch-all answer for the things that red can't naturally do.
Yes, for sure. Akino Bye Bye is very similar with its enter bounce ability to bounce anything on the field. There's no stipulation for that. And then if you wanna, you can pay a little extra and get a guard from your trash to your hand.
Can I tell you how many times I've paid that 2 extra to get a guard and then put it on the field and attacked with it for the win?
You put it on the field?
Yeah, because you're playing no limit aggro, and sometimes you're out of cards in your hand and you just need to fill a field to win.
So what, you've been doing it on your main phase timing and then just played it right away?
No, I'll play it on my opponent's timing and then just play it on my turn.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Because I was like, it does not say get it from your trash and put it onto the field.
I'm just saying a guard can attack.
This just in, ladies and gentlemen, your guards are Signies and can attack.
I'm just saying, I've done it a lot.
I did win one game with a guard, and it felt bad to me.
Yeah.
Anyways, so we've got Akino Bye Bye. It's so good, especially with the attack phase timing, for you to be able to get a guard from your trash to your hand if you've got the enter for it. It's really, really defensive, which is good. No Limit needs something that is defensive. With how aggro it goes, there's not a whole lot of defensive life bursts that typically come in the deck. So having something like Akino Rock and Bye Bye to give you just a little bit of life cloth preservation can kind of take you through to the late game.
Right, totally. And that brings us to our number 5. Now, 5 and up in this list are ones that you're going to want to pay special attention to, I think. Ooh. These are the cards that are still going to be good 1 year later. Now, Akino Rock, Bang Crescendo, these guys are all good and find niches and homes in different decks in the future. But they get outclassed a little bit by some new cards that are being introduced, or there's just more options, so their niche becomes smaller, right? The ones that I'm saying from 5 and above, these are just going to be good cards that you can play in any of your decks, really, that want these types of effects, and they're going to be one of the more powerful options that you can play. Now, number 5 is going to be a bit of a surprising one for you guys, because it's not commonly played at all right now, which I think is just simply because we are not in the point in time where we need Dream Teams. But Dream Teams moving forward, this card is ridiculous. And it's Ange level 1 and Ange level 2.
All right.
Ange level 1, what it does is it's just like Akino Rock. It bounces target level 2 or less to the opponent's hand. White Lrig, 0 cost.
Yeah, it's the same.
Right. And then level 2... The cool thing about level 2 is it costs, check me on this, Tiffany, I'm right, 2 enter and opens up 2 lanes by bouncing 1 Signy to the hand and then trashing another Signy.
You are correct.
All right, my knowledge is
Hold
there.
On. Let me reread it. I'm not wearing my glasses. Target level 2 or less Signy on your opponent's field to its owner's trash, and return target Signy on your opponent's field to its hand.
Right, so a little bit of condition.
Yeah, so you're trashing 1, which is a 2 or less, which is guaranteed to be on the field pretty much at all times due to Lrig power limits, and then return target Signy, anything, to your opponent's hand.
Right,
so
it is worth mentioning, both of these are main phase timing. They are not defensive in the slightest. But by being not defensive in the slightest, they just have this raw main phase aggro power. If you are looking to play white in your deck and you want to be aggressive, right? Maybe you're playing a red-black deck that is very aggressive. Those are the two most aggressive colors in Wixoss, right? And you're like, how can I just get some more damage done? Ange is a great choice.
Yeah.
Even if you don't run white, Ange is a great choice.
Can I just also say, this is total, like, side combo. I actually really, really like Ange's design because I think she looks like Chisei from Ancient Magus Bride.
She's good.
Yeah, she's cute.
Her design's cool, and I think the effects that she does is cool. The fact that she can give you white in your Lrig deck is also good because white is a good color to just currently right now. There's a lot of good cards in white. So adding white to your team, your dream team, it's a powerful tool.
Especially with the double removal. I mean, if you double grow her and you time it just right, you could wipe out your opponent's board on your main phase.
Yeah.
And they can't fill every lane.
For minimal amount of effort.
Yes.
And that's why it's so good.
Yeah. All right, moving on to number 4. Did you have any closing thoughts?
No, that one's just great.
Moving on to double 4, we've got Eggy Sensei, Dr. Tamago Double Stroke, and Jet Stick.
Yeah, quite a good one, right? So...
Did you place this higher because she's your favorite?
No, just because she, like I said earlier, she's just continuously used.
All right, so let's talk about that. So the level 1 is very simple. Draw 2 cards.
Yep, that's it.
That's it. Why is that important for decks?
You know, it's just a static, always good effect to have in your level 1.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that with the Ray assist line. So it's just nice to have an assist that can just fix your hand, draw 2 cards, kind of get back anything you need with no stipulations.
Expedite you to get a guard. And it's just drawing cards are good when you're being aggressive. They're good when you're being defensive. It's just a good effect to have in pretty much all decks. It's universal.
So looking at the second grow, we got some defense and we have even more draw. And this one's crazy because it's got main phase and attack phase timing and it costs 0.
Yep.
So it costs 0 to down a target Signy in your opponent's field, and it only costs 1 extra to draw 2 more cards.
It's true.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's the idea here, and it's colorless too, by the way, which is actually very important, meaning that you can put Tamago in a deck, even if you plan to not play any blue whatsoever.
Blue. Yeah. Insane.
And the paying is correct there, right? You'd expect it to be costing 1 and then give you both effects, right? But instead it's flexible and it gives you defense for 0 if you absolutely need it. And then also a very flexible cost to draw more cards.
Yes, and chances are, depending on the deck that you're running this in, you probably will have that just 1 extra enter to refill your hand, especially if you're going up against decks that like to rip it apart unexpectedly.
Another cool thing with Tamago is most lines, especially in blue, will really only have the draw level 1 be any good. And then the other one's probably not so great or overcosted or whatever. Tamago also has a free removal version called Tamago Beating at its level 1. So if you look at it and you're like, actually, I don't need the draw until the late game, I'd rather run Beating and then run Jet Stick, and I still would be fine with that combo, you can get away with that with Tamago, which is a cool flexibility in Tamago's line itself. Again, one of the main reasons why Tamago is still used as an assist to this day in Japan.
Very strong blue assist might be our recommendation for the blue line in a dream team. What's coming up next? Now we're getting into top 3.
Top 3 would be Hirana on stage and Hirana Stamp.
Woof, getting some nice red assists outside of the Love It line. So why did this one place higher than Love It?
So realistically, when you're using Love It, level 2, you are spending 2 enter to get rid of something on your opponent's side during attack phase timing. You very rarely do the crossfade ability where you're crushing something. It's useful, but it pops up maybe 20% of the time, right?
Yeah, you can't. It's hard to make the most out of that assist.
Stamp has another ability on its thing. You can pay 5 and stop various effects that cost enter, and I've never seen it done ever. It doesn't get done. It's an insane thing. So just imagine that text isn't there.
Yeah, honestly, I'm very confused. Not to mention, it is expensive.
Yeah, it does not just it's better. You're better off. You're literally better off imagining if that text doesn't exist and whiting it out from the card, because it misleads you to think that you should pay 6 enter. No, you should just pay 1 and to vanish your opponent's Signy on attack phase timing, and that's what it does, right? You're playing red. It's a main deck Lrig way to get rid of big Signy in red. That is not, it's unusual for red to be able to get access to that cheaply, mind you. 1 anything enter versus, let's say we were just talking about how good Rose Quartz was. Rose Quartz costs red to do that effect.
Right.
And it does it on the opponent's attack phase timing, so it is defensive and aggressive, which is what you're looking for in that type of red thing. There is no other Signies right now Lrigs that right now that do that effect and allow you to also play red. So currently, it is just one of your best red assists if you were making an assist line and you want to include red. And then on stage, it's just, it's just it's just the same thing as before. It just vanishes things, and that's pretty good in red. You want to look at a way to clear a lane early.
All right, so just to follow what you were saying. So you think that Stamp is better than Crossfade?
Simply because it's cheaper.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Cool. All right.
Crossfade costs you 2 enter.
Yeah.
Stamp costs you 1.
Okay. Cool. Let's see. Coming in at number 2, MC Lion Dig and MC Lion Disrespect.
I think an argument could be made between our number 1 and our number 2. That you could be like, you could swap them. And that argument could be made at different points in times. But I think right now it is correct to have MC Lion as number 2. But what does MC Lion do?
Why not both? I mean, in Dream Teams, you get 2 assists. Anyways, so a Dig does exactly what it says it does, which is look at the top 5 cards, reveal 1 Signy that shares a color with your center Lrig, and 1 Signy that shares a color with a Lrig that is not your center Lrig. Add the revealed cards to your hand and put the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Very, very typical MC Lion ability, or what the center would also be doing. This is pretty great because I know that the Wolf Assist that typically comes with the Card Jockey team, it's going to put that into your enter. So what this is doing is it allows you to get a nice deep dig right away, 0 cost, and you can pick something that shares a color with your center and then something that shares a color with your with one of your assists. Or I guess because it says shares a color with a Lrig that is not your center, you could theoretically get a guard, couldn't you?
Because those guards are colorless. Guards are colorless, so you can't grab something because it doesn't have a color.
Oh, okay.
But it's that wording is really important. It's confusing, but important. The fact that it says you need to get a Signy that shares a color with your center and a Signy that shares a color with one of your assists, right? We're talking Dream Teams now. You can have a white assist, and then you would be able to get 2 white cards with that. You also got to bear in mind multicolors count in this scenario because it does not use the words do not share. You can actually get, if you had a white multicolored, you could also pick that up as your second card because it still shares a color with your assist Lrig.
Or a Lrig that is not your center.
Correct. So because of that, it lends itself to flexibilities in Dream Teams. But it's just, we said it with Nova. What's better than drawing 2 cards? Well, being able to draw any of the cards that you are looking to draw to fix your hands and digging deep to do so.
Yep, not bad. And then that is followed up by MC Lion Disrespect, which is basically just downing everything on the opponent's field if you pay for the full ability for it. It
theoretically is better than downing in some scenarios. And
it says cannot attack.
Yeah, some scenarios it's worse. For example, if you're staring down a Komai, it's pretty annoying because it's going to down stuff anyways and do the thing that it's trying to do. And you'd rather have downed at that point. But it's better in some scenarios because if you down 2 things and then they attack and it says vanish target up Signy, then you can vanish target up Signy because they didn't down.
That is true. All right. Good
but
old
again,
disrespect.
It's just the modular cost on that, right? Allows you to say, well, what if I don't have a big hand size? Okay, well then you might have enter, and if you have the enter, cool, you can still stop 2 attacks.
Yeah.
Well, what if I don't have the enter? Okay, well you can pay the 2 and discard cards, and you can still stop 2 attacks. What if you are late game and you have all of those things? Great, you can stop an entire field, right?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
That's pretty crazy, especially if you can pay for it. At worst, you're paying 2 on main phase or attack phase to say that a Signy can't attack. Like,
Yeah.
if you have 1 open lane, sometimes that's enough.
Yep.
All right. Coming in at number 1. Who is the number 1 assist?
It is Madoka Clap and Madoka Float. So basically, we just repeated ourselves because all of the things that you can say for MC Lion Dig and MC Lion Disrespect, you could probably say for Float and Clap.
These are pretty consistent choices across the meta as well.
Correct. You also, again, putting MC Lion in your deck, you get access to white. Putting Madoka Float and Clap, you get access to blue. Blue and white have some of the more stronger options that you can play in. And so it's not a terrible idea to just be like, these are interchangeable. They are defense Signies. If I'm playing a more defensive game, and I want a defense assist Lrig. If I'm playing a more defensive game, I should consider the top line defenders, and these are top line defenders, right? Float doesn't dig like MC Lion Dig does. It makes you discard a card and then you draw 3, which is a ton.
Yeah, but here's the other thing about that. First of all, it gives you a little bit of hand filtering, and I didn't think of this until just now. Discarding a card, I know a lot of people might think that that's a bad thing, but when you're pairing this with colors like black, what you can do is take a Signy that you probably don't want to play until later, put it in your trash, and then that is now protected from any discard random cards from your opponent.
Almost like what our number 11 was, which was Machina, which allows you Machina, which allows you to get the card out of your trash. Yeah, and not only that, you have Lifeburst that can bring things back from your trash, and it sucks to hit those Lifebursts with an empty trash.
Exactly.
And this enables it turn 1. It says, hey, you've got stuff in there if you ever need to use this as a resource.
And then the legendary Clap.
Yeah.
My god. This is
the bane
insane.
of aggro from set 2 onwards. Set 1 onwards, excuse me.
Look at this thing. Main phase and attack phase timing. Grow cost is 2, so it's pretty cheap. And then down target Signy on your opponent's field. Discard 2 cards. Down another one. Pay 3, 1 blue. Or sorry, pay 1 blue to anything. Down another. You could down a whole field. How annoying.
It's just, when you were
especially up against like Komai, like you just down those 2 and then
Correct.
You're just like, you can't do
exactly.
anything.
You can't do anything.
You could down 1 and it would stop it.
Arguably, adding white to your dream team would be a good argument to say MC Lion is better than Madoka. But Madoka's downing is, in my opinion, better than not to stopping attacks. And
why is that, you think?
Mostly because of Komai.
Okay.
Just almost strictly because of Komai. And also freeze. Freeze is another reason. Blue has freeze, and it would rather see things be down.
Something, yes, that is very true as well. Yes.
So I think that leads Madoka to be better. The other reason that I like Madoka is one of its assists that I didn't list on here, called Madoka Break. It is not very good right now, but it basically is a blue way of bottoming Signy to the opponent's deck, right?
Not to mention it taxes it on the way.
Exactly, it taxes it with discard, right? If the opponent discards, then those Signy don't go. The trick with that is blue is also the color of discard. So if their hand size is 0, then they have no choice. You've removed the choice away.
Oh, so now you're just forcing them to... Wait.
Yeah, you force them to bottom it.
Oh, ho, ho, ho.
So not great right now because there's just not enough reliable discard to constantly make your opponent's hand 0. But that's going to change soon.
things to look forward to, a lot of things to consider when you're building your future dream team, which of course, past set 4, we would recommend all of you look into. Do you have any ideas of what kind of dream team you would want to be running coming up? I mean, if you could run anything, viable or optimal or no.
There's a soft spot in my heart for a green team, but it's not dream team. So I
green team.
I guess I was gonna say but that's not a dream team. That'll be Ancient Surprise.
Right.
Yes, I mean, so Bang. I've been running the Bang Dream Team forever, and I love it.
Yeah.
And I still like running the Bang Dream Team.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had to think of just like future sets 4 and onwards, probably the Tamago that freezes coming up. That's going to be a fun one. And it solves Tamago's issue, which was Tamago never could open up lanes on fields. Okay, cool. What it did was it dropped the green, picked up picked up black. Suddenly it can open up lanes again.
Okay.
And
cool.
And that is what's enabling Tamago from here on, kind of stuff.
Okay.
What about you?
This is gonna sound insane because I really haven't thought about it, but I honestly just like picked my favorites and put them on the field. So this might be absolute crap, but like, just like bear with me. Okay, hear me out. Ready? Okay. Center Wolf. Umer. To get Umer clear.
Sure.
And love it.
You know what? You do you. You do you. You looked at our top 10 of most powerful ASSIST Lrigs and went, I'm going to use 10. I'm going to use the 10th. And nothing else that was stated here.
Listen, I said it didn't have to be even viable. Just like, what do you want to play? And I have been wanting to, well, first of all, when I start playing Ancient Surprise again, of course I'm going to be playing the whole team. Duh. But I have been itching to try and get the Umer clear line back into the spotlight.
Well, I have a surprise, sneak peek for you and maybe the potential viewers in a bit. But Tamago Freeze deck and then Tamago 2.0 is going to be good. And you've said it before on the podcast.
Yeah.
There is a really powerful assist line specifically for freeze shenanigans.
Yes, and that's Umer Freeze and Umer Shatter.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
it says it all.
So it is. I'd say that interaction is niche enough to not make the top 10, but it exists in something you can play.
I just want to play Ancient Surprise, okay?
No, don't you worry. You will get your time to play Ancient Surprise.
And we'll be covering that in a future podcast. I think that's all we have for today.
Yeah, that's it.
Again, special shout out to Hellfire. He's got that video coming out soon with all the nitty-gritty numbers if that's something you guys are into.
Speed.
That's your speed, that's your interest from the previous ceremony. So you might be able to kind of have a very in-depth look as to what to expect in the next one. Really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. We look forward to all of your comments in the comment section down below. Please subscribe. And as always, may you always flip a life burst.
Thanks, guys.
Goodbye, selectors.